glad you said that, because that is not the right answer, but everybody thinks that. All right, we're going to talk about why. All right, pushing is one thing I want everybody to get away from. Everybody thinks pushing off the rubber is what generates velocity. All right, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to show you why. This is why I believe why, and this is what a lot of good pitchers that throw 100 miles an hour do. I never threw 100 miles. I've seen a lot of guys that throw hard do it. All right, I want to ask questions about every single part of our delivery. Why do we do it? All right, so you know when you go through every part of your motion, why do I do this certain thing? What should I be trying to do? All right, we're going to throw a lot of information out there. Okay, somebody said to me one time, it's like drinking out from a fire hydrant. You got a lot of water and you can't get it all in your mouth. So just take the bits and pieces that you learned tonight and put it into your game. All right, so let's start from the rubber. All right, we've got wind up when nobody's on, okay, and we got stretch when somebody's on. What's more important? Why is the wind up more important? I would disagree with you, but no, stretch is more important. All right, why is stretch more important? Anybody want to answer? Yeah, I'm talking about like pitching from stretch. Yep. Because there's runners on base. All right, runners on base, they have a good chance of scoring, right? So we got to be at our best from the stretch. Now, going back to the windup, does it generate more power? No, I don't think so, because all we're doing is stepping and pivoting. Now we're from the stretch right here. So what the windup does is it gets us more tempo. Okay, when you're just standing still from the stretch and you come set, you're just lifting and going. There's not a lot of rhythm in that. Whereas we get from the windup, we get a little bit of rhythm, and now we're going. Okay, so we both end up at the same point with our leg up. All right, am I good on that? All right, so where do I stand on the mound? Do I stand, if I'm a righty, do I have any lefties here? Okay, so we're just gonna kind of be opposite. I'll try to tailor to the lefties too. For a righty, if I stand on the first base side, versus, what's the difference between the first base side and the third base side? Anybody know? Pitching from each side of the rubber. Yep. It'd be easier to get to the outside corner to a righty. I agree with that. Yep. But if we're on this side, so yeah, it's a little hard to get there, but it's actually a little bit more deception for a right-handed hitter. It's almost like coming behind our body. It's not much though. All right, I don't know if that's really an advantage. For me, I was always in the middle of the mound because I could reach both corners from the middle, and I'm still not wide open. A lot of sinker ballers start here because they don't really care about deception. They're getting the movement on the base. All right, so you got to find what's comfortable for you. I'm not telling you to stand in the middle. I'm not telling you to stand on the right or the left. If you can locate to the down and away corner to a righty from that side, do it. You get that little extra deception. All right. I'm telling you, like 98% of big league hitters cannot hit the down and away fastball. If you can throw that pitch consistently, you're going to have a lot of success in this game. Guys can't hit that pitch. All right. So from the windup, we get our step going. Do I go back? Do I go side? Do I go diagonal? Anybody have any ideas? Side. I think it's personal preference. The only thing that I want to be careful here, this is just getting us going. We're not creating power here. Some people think going backwards creates power to go forward. We're just getting going. I want your head over the mound, over your step. If we start stepping this way, we're already off balance before we've even started our motion. All right? So if we step this way and we're off balance, now I've got to catch back up to be back on balance. And you can see guys when they do drills, they're kind of like this. All right? Let's make it easy on ourselves. If we step, just keep our head still. All right? Now, when I pivot, and this is where these two come together, the stretch and the windup, where does my foot stand? Does it stand beside the rubber, hooking the rubber, on top of the rubber? On the side up like this? Yes, that's correct. All right, I've seen guys teach this, where you kind of like diagonal. I'm not saying they're wrong. What I want to do is get my foot straight in the ground. Because what I'm going to do when I lift this leg is I'm going to load this hip, and this is where we start to use this back leg for power. we're going to get into it. Because here's where our power comes from. Just give you a little heads up. Our power comes from when we get here. All right, it's not about pushing, it's about rotating. All right, that's where the power is. All right, if I push, then my rotation becomes a lot weaker and I've lost that hip point. All right, does everybody get that? So, going back, I want this foot firmly in the ground. All right, so I want it up. Now comes the leg kick. Okay, how high do we want our leg kick?
Yep.
Waist.
Yep.
Whatever comes, yeah. All right, so we can go high, we can go low, we can go waist high. It's all what you can stay balanced doing, and it also depends on how fast your arm works. If you have a fast arm and you have a high leg kick, you may not time up as well. You may do better with a shorter leg kick. But work, kind of experiment with it, see what works best for you guys. All right. Sometimes if your arm's not getting on time, maybe get a little bit bigger leg kick to allow yourself more time. All right. So we got our leg kick up. Again, where's our weight? Heads over kind of our toe. We're not leaning this way. We're setting ourselves up for failure for leaning this way, this way, this way. Right here, balance. All right. We're not going to stop there. I'm just showing you for example. All right. So again, we're here. Now the foot starts to go down, and we break our hands. When the foot starts to go, that's when we start to break. Now you can break down, way far down in big loop. I like thumb to thigh a thought. Or you can come. People have shorter arms. You come here. All right. So what happens is when that foot goes down, you need to start breaking. All right, because we want that arm to at least be shoulder height by the time our foot hits the ground. We'll get there eventually. Any questions? Okay. Where you hold your hands on your glove. Okay. Wherever you guys want. Again, how is going to time up. All right. Now, here's one of the most tricky things about pitching that's hard to teach. When we lift our leg, we almost have to drift forward just a little bit. If you slow it down on video, you almost want your head when you start from here. When you lift to the top of your leg, it almost is leaning forward just a little bit. Now this is where it gets tough because you want to stay back, but get going forward, but then stay back, which is tricky. All right, so we got to get our momentum moving forward, but we can't jump out forward. All right. So as we start to drift forward, does our leg kick out? Does it come down, or is it in between? Which way? Down. Okay. And again, this is kind of a personal preference. I'm going to tell you what to be careful with on each one of them. All right. If we come straight up and straight down and out, I feel like sometimes it's hard to get a little bit of a drift going that way. We're kind of rigid. We're straight up, and now I'm here instead of more of an athletic position. If I get out here and really sit into my leg swings. That's going to swing open wide, and we're going to be off target. We're not going to be on our straight line for the plate. All right. Those are things you got to be careful with. Some guys do this really well and then land where they need to. Okay? That's where you got to be careful with on those two. I almost like kind of a in between where you're swinging a little bit, getting into the athletic position. But again, what works for you guys, I want you guys just to think about it, what you do, and what to be careful with. All right? Okay. So now we're getting out, or we're striding out. Trying to get, what is this called? This is called power position. This is where the magic happens. All right. If you do all the things right here, you will throw harder than a lot of guys because they don't get into the proper position. Okay. So what am I looking for in a power position? All right. My head is a little bit behind my belt buckle. That means I've stayed back. I haven't jumped forward. All right. I want my arm or ball at least shoulder height. Okay, if we're down here, it's going to be really hard to time up the throw. All right, so at least here, ideally here, but everybody's different. I'm not going to tell you have to be here. All right? Another thing is I want this knee a little behind our ankle. And that's going to help us to have that leg brace. All right, which we'll talk about in a second. All right, so this is the power position. Now, I tell a lot of the guys I work with, I want a strong glove. Okay, and that means I need my shoulders square to our target. All right, and and I want it to be firm. Now, what am I going to do next with the glove? Am I going to rip it down? This velo? Seems like a trick question, right? How many guys have been told to pull their glove down? Okay, it's taught. Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong, but what it has a tendency to do is fly open our front side too early. Okay, so what I like to think is more of a quiet glove. I'm strong, and as I rotate, I put my chest into my glove. All right, we'll do some drills to work on all this stuff. And I'll show them to you in a little bit. All right, so the motion's more. All right, we want a strong glove, and then we're rotating into our glove instead of pulling this, and we pull off our front side. Now, here's where the power happens. Our hips have to turn first. It's called hip-shoulder separation. All right, so our hips turn first, then our torso is going to go, then our arm's going to go. Now, you can't think about this when you're out on the mat. You can't be like, all right, my hips got to go first, so like that. It's going to be weird, right? All right, it's going to look funky. That's why we do drills, and I'm going to show you some. We'll work on that hip shoulder separation. Where you're getting this, you're still strong here, and then you're firing. And that's where the legs fire everything else. Bam! Alright? Anybody have any questions on that? This is important. This is very important. Okay? So that means my foot is still on the ground for my power position. I want my foot to almost roll over my toes. I don't want to push. I don't want to turn. It's just kind of a roll. That back knee's coming down. All right? Who's a good hitter here? All right. What am I doing hitting?
Everybody.
Of course.
Okay. You watch some of the big league hitters. They don't even squish the ball. They roll on the toe. They're firing the hips before their upper body, and then the arms are following. Okay. Hitting and pitching are really similar. Okay. So again, we're back here. We're rolling. All right. We're starting to come through. Chest is in the glove. What's gonna happen on this front knee? You go through it if you want. What's gonna happen on that front knee? Oop. It's gonna be blocked, right? Why is it gonna be blocked? What is the importance of this block? You might know. We've got all this power, all this momentum going forward. We gotta stop it. Yep. Yep. So you basically could finish your rotation. If I come forward and just bring this forward, how weak is that shoulder? I mean, that hip turn. All right, I'm here, forward. There's no power in that. I get strong front side, pop over it. That's where the power's at. Okay, we got to stop the power and translate it to our arm. Okay, so that's where we go from legs to arm. And what's going to happen at release or just after it is when that front knee has got to straighten out. Okay? A lot of guys don't finish their rotation, and that's why they end up coming forward. They either jump too far forward and they're out this way already, or they just stop and come over. So we've got to get out strong and rotate, and then it straightens out. All right? It's really hard to teach, but it's super important. Okay? And then we finish the throw. All right, we finish. I would love to see the back leg come over. We finish the rotation. That right hip is firing over. Now, how many guys have been told to finish like this? Go to position, right? It's not wrong. I don't mind. I'm not telling you to do this. I don't mind if you finish like this. You can still turn right here and get in field in position. All right? What that means to me is you're finishing your rotation. We're getting as much as we can in that pitch. Now, I'm not saying run off to this one. All right? It's still a controlled finish and turn. Okay? Because I'm finishing the lower half. All right? One other thing I wanted to go over and touch on our arm path. All right? Now, when you guys are looking at me, who's been told this is a wrong thing? When you're throwing and your arm's back here and hitters can see the ball. Anybody been told that your arm's going too far back? No. I've heard taught, and it's not necessarily wrong either. Okay, but if our front side is here and we're getting this, that's actually really good. Okay, now if I'm reaching this way to turn and get it, it's not good, because then we're rotating up to half and we lose our leg. All right, but what this is called, it's called scap load. All right, And the only way you can really work on it is through flexibility exercises and drills. All right, you're not going to sit there and just try to reach back when you throw. It's not going to happen. All right, so YouTube, if you ever want to look it up, scap mobility exercises, scapular mobility exercises. There's a lot of good ones out there. All right, everybody's different. I don't want to give you a bunch of exercises because everybody's body is different. Anybody have any questions on the mechanics part? It's a lot of information, I know. Anybody? Yep.
So I wanted to ask, so if there's ever like a runner on the base, I was also told to like do this, not really put up your knee, whatever.
I'm glad you asked that because that's something I meant to cover. A lot of us, we get to the stretch and there's a runner on, and all of a sudden we feel the pressure to hold the guy at first base or second base, whatever. But we're told to be quick to the plate. All right. I don't think that necessarily means we need to slide stuff because we're over here pitching from the windup, up. Now we got to do a whole different delivery, going straight like this. Why can't we just lift a little bit and go? Okay. I think just we shorten our leg kick so it's just almost knee to hip and go. All right. That's plenty quick. I promise you. All right. As long as you have a catcher that can throw the baseball any bit. All right. And then it's just a little step. Okay. That allows our arm time to get up. If we just step right here, a lot of times our arm never gets up and we miss high or we yank it down the dirt. All right. It's a great question. Anybody else? One other thing I did want to talk about. When our foot lands, it's probably going to be pointed close to it. I don't want you to point your toe because then our hips are open. All right? You want close, 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 and then as you're starting to rotate, it's going to open up. Okay. You should shoot for maybe a 45-degree angle here, but most likely it's going to be open by the time you land. Don't come out pointing towards the target. I've heard that talk before. And meanwhile, when they teach it, to get the right direction, then we open up our hips and we walk the top. Alright? So, real quick, I want to talk about pitch grips.
Do you have a preference whether the heel hits first or the ball to the foot?
I think the heel's going to hit first. Just the way that happens. I think if you do this, you're almost jumping out to try to get on the toe. Whereas just kind of naturally, it's probably heel to toe, very close. Let's see if I got a ball.